Hi, I'm Leslie Bailey Streiskooth, and I work in career advising. And among the many things that I am interested in and that and out of the many tools that I use to work with students and alumni and help them figure out what it is that they want to do, I have found that design thinking is something that works really well with some people. Before we get into that, I want you to think about the building that you're in right now. I want you to think about a bridge that you've driven over. I want you to think about the fact that when you open your laptop, it stays open. All of these things, we sort of take for granted, but somebody designed those. Somebody figured out how to make that work, how to make the laptop stay open, how to make sure the bridge was safe. And those people who designed those buildings, those hinges, those, whatever it is that we're using in everyday life, they came up with a way to look at their design projects in a new way. And they called it design thinking. And design thinking kind of went into the professional arena and everywhere else. And we're saying, this is a great way to solve problems. Yay. However, some really smart people out in California at Stanford said, you know what? We're really solving problems using this approach. What if we used it to help people design their careers? And this launched like 20, 30 years ago, and boom, it's still working. And it's what we're going to use today in helping you think about what the possibilities are for your future. So if you'll bear with me one moment, I'm going to pull up a screen. Something that you need to keep in mind throughout all of this, there'll be times where I go quiet. That's when you can pause the video and make sure that your whole group has enough time to do whatever it is that you're doing at the particular time. And then you can just restart the video and listen to my voice after that. So I'm going to share my screen with all of you. And instead of calling it design thinking, this group of brilliant people out in California decided to call it designing your life. What I have said is it's you planning for you. And I think a lot of times we sort of hope somebody else will help us figure something out, and they will, but we need to be asking them questions to help us do that. So here's where that all starts. So first of all, I want you to be thinking about what brings you energy. Think through your week. Where were you immersed in something, where you forgot about time? And what are moments that you look forward to? What I want you to do with that big piece of paper that you should have is take some time to really think about and reflect on what it is that brings you energy, where you lose track of time. And then I want you to write those moments out on the paper and make sure you leave space and that it's not, that you're going to be writing stuff off of those words that you write. So make sure that you leave space. Okay, great. So at this point, you should have something on your paper that if you look at my arrows, these darker circles are the initial ideas that this person wrote down. So you should not worry about all the colored right now. You just need to worry about having those main activities or whatever it is that you're engaged in. So great. What I want you to do now, and you may or may not have different colors that you can use to do this. That's okay if you don't. But if you do, you might want to choose some different colors just so that visually you can differentiate between what is going on your paper. This is ultimately going to be a mind map, and it basically lets what's in your head come out and you might be able to discover some things that you hadn't thought of, or might be able to help you think about something in a new way. So, next step. Mind map, it's kind of like you have these base ideas and then other ideas build off of it. So what I want you to do in the next block of time is brainstorm and think about all of these different things that you've written down, and just let yourself write whatever comes to mind, building off of them. So the person who did this, their secondary, the one that you just did, their secondary was the blue comments. Now you see there's some sort of purple colored writing. That's the third level, and that's what I would like you to do now. I would like you to build off of your second level. And I want you to take time, maybe a little bit longer, so that this person, I took a picture midway through their developing their mind map. Know that there's a lot more that could go on to this, and did go on to this map. So take the time. You owe yourself this time to figure out what it is that's in your head and getting it out on the paper. So do that third level and take time to really let your mind empty. So you now have this mind map, and now we're going to do something with it. It was neat to kind of see where your mind went, but I'm now wanting you to look a little bit more closely at that and focus on the connections that you can see within this mind map. What are the similarities connecting what you mapped? What are the groupings saying about that energy? Or your energy, and what is it about the groupings that connect with you? So I'm trying to just give you different ways of thinking about organizing the information that's on your mind map. And you can do this in different ways. You can number things, you can color code, you can put some things in circles, some things in squares, some things in clouds, whatever it is that helps you organize all that information and see if you can find ways that the different pieces connect. So take a good amount of time to do that. Wonderful. Now, we're going to talk about this grouping a little bit. So now I want you to look at these groupings you have and label them. And you can be creative with this, or you can be straightforward, whatever, makes you more comfortable. But ultimately, you're going to be sharing this. So you want it to be a label that helps you make sense of what's in that group, and also helps people who are listening understand, maybe with some explanation from you. So now you have these groupings, you have some ideas of what it is that, maybe some inklings of what it is that you found out about yourself and what you like to do. What you're going to do now is take all of that and use it intentionally in creating a 5-year plan. So what I want you to do in this next block of time, I'm going to pause the video, I'm wanting you to share with, either you all can determine how it'd be best to share, but share what your groupings are and what you think is interesting about that. And then I want you to then work on your own to build a 5-year plan. And that will entail what you think you want to, projects you might have, things to do in your personal life, things going on in your professional life. Are you going to be engaged in the community some way? Are you going to be engaged with some sort of religious organization in some way? all of these kind of things and all the things that are on that mind map and the groupings that you had, make sure that they are addressed in this 5-year plan. And does this plan have to be the one that you have in mind right now? It could be, because you could maybe say to yourself, I'm going to really figure this out and flesh this out. But it could also be sort of a variation on that. This plan, it's an odyssey. It's not a contract. It's not something that you're signing and saying, oh, this is going to happen. It's an odyssey, thinking about Odysseus. And I don't know if any of you had to read it. I taught it, so no groaning, because I had to teach it to 8th grade young people, and you just remember what you were like in 8th grade and the teacher teaching you the Odyssey. We got through it though, and the reason that we got through it is we could look at Odysseus and what he was going through and the changes that he went through. And if you think about your life sort of like an Odyssey, Odysseus didn't just plow ahead and ignore what was going on around him. He interacted, Circe, the sirens, he said to himself, all right, this is in front of me, I'm going to manage this. And he also had an idea, though, that he wanted to get back home. Not to Syracuse, but I think it's to Ithaca, but this has been so long that I taught it. Anyhow, bottom line, he's having this journey and he gets something out of it. And so this plan that you're making is your Odyssey. And I want to make sure that you're thinking about how you can get something out of the next 5 years. So take a good chunk of time to share your ideas with everybody, and then go and plan your Odyssey trip, your Odyssey plan. Wonderful. What I would like you to do now is take a look at this plan. It is grainy, but part of that is I don't really want you to be focused on what it is this person planned, but more about the visual of it. So look at your plan and see if you feel like you've got enough going on, that you feel like you've filled it in enough. And then if you look at the bottom, there are those gauges. And I want you to right now take some time to say, all right, do I have the resources for my plan? Do I like my plan? Do I have confidence that I can do this plan? And how much coherence is there between this plan and what I know about myself from the mind map, that I've made sure to address activities and work and engagement that is going to energize me and bring me joy. So take some time to figure that out, and then we're going to talk a little bit about that. So the resources, it doesn't matter whether you have enough or not. If you don't have enough, all you have to do is ask yourself, what do I need to get? And who do I need to talk to make this happen? It's all a matter of asking questions and connecting with the people who can get you to where you need to go. So don't worry if you don't have enough resources right now. Those are things that you can collect and gather. Like it. If you don't like this plan, then why not? What is it about this plan that's not working? And figure out what you need to change to make it work. Do you need to think about location, what you're doing, the people you're around? All of those kind of questions are things you can ask yourself. Finally, confidence. If you're not that confident in the plan, again, ask yourself why. What is it that's holding you back? And address that. And if it's something that you can't change, then maybe this plan isn't the best plan, and that you need to think and work with and look back at that mind map and say, okay, here's where I know I'm comfortable. Here's where I know I get energy. Let me make sure I'm paying closer attention to that and maybe not doing what I thought I was supposed to do. Okay, finally, coherence. That should be you looking and making sure that what your mind map told you is reflected on your plan. So take a few minutes to go through that and have some time thinking to yourself about those 4 gauges, what they mean to you and what they mean to this plan that you have in front of you. All right. What I'd like you to do now is share these first plans, listen to each other, and I do mean listen to each other. This is about the other people. The best way that you can help somebody through this process is to give them feedback, ask them questions, make them delve a little deeper into what it is that they want to do. And make sure that your feedback is constructive and not about you. Like, oh, I've always wanted to do that. Okay, but how does that, great. So are you guys going to go off together into the sunset and do this plan? No. So what you need to do is give feedback like, that's so interesting. What is it about that that engages you? You know, where do you think you want to do this? Those are the kind of questions. It's not about you. When you're sharing your plan, then it is about you. Take some time to do that. Okay, so what I would like you to do now is get another one of those Odyssey plans, and I want you to come up with plan B, plan Y, the next idea. And I want you to work through this same process, but do the plan that you're like, yeah, this could border on not reality. Like if nothing was holding you back, what would you plan? And I want you to take some time to go through the same process, but let yourself dream a little bit. Let yourself try that other thing that you thought, maybe I could do that. And then you said, no, I can't. But go ahead and give that a try. And go through the same process of the plan, the gauges at the bottom, and then sharing with the team, your group, and maybe talk about the differences between the 2 plans and why those differences are there. So now everybody's got the plan that they thought they were going to do, and then they have this other plan, this alternate universe plan, but you never know. Maybe you blend some of the 2. What I'd like you to do now is some reflection. And in your journals, reflect on this process. You know, what fell into place on the mind map? How do you feel about your Odyssey plan? And how do you feel about the next 5 years? I'm going to say goodbye at this point, and thank you so much for your time. Do know that if you have any questions or you want to explore some ideas further, you can come, well, you can't talk with me, but we can set up an appointment, go into Handshake and do a career exploration appointment with me. I'd love to talk to you more, and I promise I won't bore you with all the details about design thinking. Thank you.